Hello, my name is Ovetta Sampson, and I am one of the grant recipients for the Design Impact Grant at DePaul University. I'm so sorry I can't be there tonight to present my presentation on what I did with the grant, but here is a substitution, poor I'm sure, for me not being there in person. Hopefully you will enjoy this presentation and email me with questions afterwards. The presentation is entitled The Making of Stake Your Claim. So Stake Your Claim is an idea that came about, like many ideas, over a conversation. I was speaking with Elijah Hall, who is a former board member of a community land trust in Inglewood, a neighborhood in Chicago. Let me tell you a little bit about Inglewood. Inglewood is about 3 square miles. It has a population of about 30,000 people. It has a per capita income on average is 11,000, which is half of the national average of about 22,000. About 11% of the properties in Inglewood are vacant or run down or absentee owners. A lot of them are owned by the city. These properties are a blight on the neighborhood. They're frequently used for stashing of criminal activity, as well as hazards. So it's been a really mission of Elijah and other members in the community who live in Inglewood to get rid of these vacant properties. They wanted to make sure that they would do some redevelopment for those properties, but they also wanted to preserve the culture and the families who lived in Inglewood and not see that disappear with any redevelopment. So that was the problem that they presented us with. So the struggle for Inglewood is mostly its crime rate as well. Its crime rate is about 106% above the national average, and it has about 4,000 crimes reported in 2014. In addition, most of the houses look like you see here, very rundown, boarded up, vacant lots. It's very difficult to sell property in these neighborhoods, especially when most property listings depend upon description of the property as well as imagery. So would you buy a home in this neighborhood? What the Community Land Trust was encountering is that they would see people who would not buy a home here. But the problem is that Inglewood does not all look like this. It has a lot of things going for it. And there is a renaissance. But trying to sell homes that look like this was the Ujamaa Community Land Trust's difficulty. And there's definitely a change that is coming in the neighborhood, but the change just wasn't there yet. And so Inglewood has urban farms, it has Starbucks, it has a new Whole Foods that just opened, and it looks like this in various places. So would you buy a home here? A lot of people would. And so our challenge was to help Ujamaa show what their community visualization was to other investors. Ujamaa means Swahili. It's Swahili for familyhood. The Community Land Trust had identified 22 properties that were vacant and unoccupied and run down. They created a master plan for those communities around those properties. They got the land and city and county officials to partner with them, but they needed investors. And so their vision was to keep land within the community. They wanted to educate and preserve the culture, and they really wanted to invite people who wanted to live in Inglewood to join them in this area as homeowners. They had various ideas in community planning and even architectural drawings. And so we thought maybe we should take their vision that they had outlined and put it in a tool, an application that would turn something that looks like this with 3D visualizations into something that would look like this. So that investors wouldn't just see properties as they were, but see properties as they could be. So this is our team. This is myself, Gustavo Cortez, and Matthew Womack. We're all 3 DePaul graduates in the HCI program. But first we wanted to see if our idea would meet the needs for investors who currently were not in Inglewood. So what we did was we conducted stakeholder interviews with Community Land Trust to get their business needs. We interviewed urban housing professionals. We also interviewed experts in the Inglewood area as well as residents in the area to see what kind of things that they were thinking about. And then we interviewed real urban real estate investors, people who invested in urban real estate. We also did competitive analysis. We decoded all the interviews, we discovered use patterns, and we created some design recommendations based upon that. We looked at beliefs and attitudes and behaviors, and what we found were the 3 I's of real estate: imagery, information, and investment calculation. And so we decided that the design recommendations would help not only get the information to investors, but get information that they were having a tough time getting. And that includes city tax records and county assessor records, as well as property finance information. And then, of course, our visualization part. So our recommendations were to promote contracting, engineering, and other redevelopment resources for investors through Stake Your Claim, have investors sign up as members of the Community Land Trust through Stake Your Claim and get property listings weekly from them, have architectural drawings to help investors realize what the properties could be, and also use the organization's ties to the city and county to provide that hard to get, very exclusive information to properties or to investors about properties. We also suggested that they invite local lenders and banks to join the Stake Your Claim community and add a Stake Your Claim calculator to show investors properties' future value based upon the redevelopment resources that the Community Land Trust could provide to investors. What's next? We're going to do more interviews and to test some of these ideas with lo-fi and mid-fi prototyping. So we'll do some usability testings. I'm also exploring 3D and 360 and augmented reality options for these architectural drawings, as well as 3D drawings, and meeting with developers. I would love to take your questions, so just email me, ovetasampson@depaul.edu. Thank you so much for the grant. I really enjoyed doing this. I really wish I had more time to do more. But again, there's more time, more grants, and more people out there who want to change. So I'm very excited about Stake Your Claim and what it can do for not just Inglewood, but urban areas all over the city, all over the nation.